Hey everybody, it's Christine up for Paper House Productions, and I am using some of their newest papers that they just released last month to create a really pretty light and airy layout. So I'm focused on those papers that I just showed you, and off camera I did a whole bunch of fussy cutting. So I cut out some of these big flowers, and you can see that I'm going to use this watercolor sunset type of background for my base page, and then I'm going to tuck these flowers in behind my photograph. You can also see I've got a big pile of greenery there off to the top right hand corner. Those are all different leaves, stems that I cut out of one sheet of patterned paper, and I didn't even use all the paper. One of the papers that's new has all these different beautiful stems, leaves, ferns, all kinds of just beautiful greenery. And it was definitely some time consuming work to cut it all out, but I think it turned out really cool. Now, I also cut out my title, and I used one of the cut apart cards to do that. So I did all the really time consuming stuff off screen so that I could just really put the layout together for you here. So what you're seeing right now is I've got my flowers on there and I've got my picture on there. This is going to be a single photo layout just because I didn't have multiple photos. No real reason other than that. Picture of my daughter and I from last Easter. And I am adding on my title now. What I did with the title after I fussy cut it out is I did leave some of the background in because, quite honestly, I didn't want to get that detailed with my fussy cutting. And I also wanted it to pop off the page a little better, and I felt like leaving some of the background there would allow it to do that. I am using some 3D foam adhesive, so that will have some dimension to it. To add even more to the dimension, I'm going to go back with my flowers now, and I'm going to cut along some of the petal lines. What this is going to do is allow me to tuck some 3D foam adhesive underneath those and make the flowers just look more dimensional. I could have done this ahead of time. However, I just didn't know how the placement was going to pan out. And so I felt like once I put them on there, as long as I didn't put too much adhesive on the back, I could go back and do it. And you'll see pretty quickly here what a dramatic difference that makes in how those look. Now, you could definitely achieve an even cooler look if you took 2-3 sheets of this same patterned paper and layered those flowers one on top of each other, did some cutting along some of the petals, curled some things. There's a lot of possibilities within all of these papers. One of the things I love about Paper House papers is that they have some really unique designs. And so like when this box came to my house, I looked at him and I was immediately inspired. Immediately, like right off the bat, I looked at these different pink and peach papers and I was like, I already have ideas. And that doesn't always happen. So I thought that was really cool. And I just think some of these papers have a really unique feel to them. So you can do some really cool things with them and just very little else. Really, this layout is primarily just paper, with a few, of course, Paper House stickers thrown in there, but it's primarily paper, which is also kind of unique for the scrapbooking world. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take that pile of greenery that I cut out, and I am just going to create a massive pile of greenery along the bottom, basically a border along the bottom of the picture. And I did test this out before I did it, just to see how it looked, and I really liked the look. Something I have done recently on other layouts is just been putting piles of elements onto them and then putting stuff on top of it, or just leaving those as one of my embellishments. And there's just kind of a unique look to it. Again, it took me the time to cut these out, but it's not like I'm going through 14 sheets of stickers here or anything like that. This was just my own time, and you turn on an audiobook, you're not wasting time. Of course, there's Netflix too. Lots of options for things you can do while you fussy cut, right? So that is how I am creating this pile. Now, a couple things that I'm doing here. I start with just one layer, and then I'm going to add to those layers. I am going to use regular traditional tape runner to put them down. I'm also going to use some 3D foam adhesive to pop up some of the leaves and some of the stems. I am trying to mix and match the really full pieces with the less full pieces. I'm trying to mix and match the colors because we've got lots of different shades of green going on here. And so I'm just trying to create a balance within the greenery, kind of like they do when you approach a wreath and designing that. You don't want to have all the same stuff in one spot and then the next spot and then the next spot. You want to mix and match to create interest. And so all of those things are playing into it, both a balance of where they're being located as well as adding dimension through 3D foam adhesive. I'm also just going to add dimension on some of them just by pulling the leaves up. All in all, very simple, really technique, but it looks complicated. I mean, it's not that much more complicated than throwing a whole bunch of laundry on the floor. But I'm gluing it down. So, okay, well, maybe a little more complicated. I am definitely trying to be precise, but it's a pile of stuff. So, although it looks detailed, it's actually fairly straightforward. Now, to add some additional interest, I am going to pull out some 3D stickers from Paper House, just a couple of different, one of them's an anniversary set, one of them's a blushing bride set, and I'm just going to use some pieces from that to be embellishments on this layout. As you can see, I cut them out on the acetate background just to see how I like them. Not going to use a ton here, but just a few little pieces to add some additional interest. And the reason I went for those was really no reason at all other than they matched. I had them in my stash, they matched, so I pulled them out. One of my goals with these is to build up around the title and increase some interest up there at the top of the page. Because right now the bottom of the page is feeling pretty heavy and the top of the page is feeling pretty light. I'm also going to pull out my Shauna Klingerman inspirational sticker book, which is part of our Life Organized Planner sticker collection. And I'm pulling this out because I like the gold foiling in it, and I knew there would be some little bits and pieces within it that would work on the layout. That's one of the things. Think beyond your just using your stickers for their originally intended purposes. Most of Paper House's stickers can work not only in a planner, but they can work on a scrapbook layout. They can work in cards. They can work in pocket pages. They can work on gift wrap. There's all different ways that you can use these stickers. And I certainly like to get as many uses out of them as I can. So that is where this sticker book is coming in handy. There are lots of little gold foils hearts in it. And so I am just going through the sticker book and adding those as an embellishment to my layout. Then I am going to go ahead and add some white Nuvo drops, which are basically like white enamel dots, but in liquid form. I'm going to add those onto my layout where I have the hearts kind of creating some embellishment clusters. Now, at this point, I was thinking I was about done. However, I feel like the top is still not balanced well with the bottom. So I'm going to walk away for a little while and you'll see what I come back to. Now I'm back, okay, and I have added a few things off camera and I will talk about those, and then I'm going to add a few things on camera. So you can see I added some greenery up there to my title to help bring some more balance, and that definitely helped. I also added a part of a big flower peeking out of the bottom down below. Now, that didn't necessarily help with balance because it added more to the bottom, but what it did do is help tie the whole thing together, and it also brought the delicate flowers down. The final thing I'm going to do is I am going to take this cut apart card and tuck it behind these torn off little holes. I like to call these peekaboo holes. It's a place where you can tuck a little bit of patterned paper behind it and let it show. And what that's going to do is take the eye from the top of the layout down to my title, down to the picture, all the way down to the bottom. So it's going to give the eye someplace to go. It's also going to help tie the whole layout together with the big flower and the little flowers. So there you have it, a very delicate, light, airy layout featuring some of Paper House's newest papers. Be sure to check those out over on their website. And thank you so much for watching today. Have a great day.